gear acceleration. All right, what is going on today, guys? Tomcat here. I am not sure how the audio is with this, but basically we're attempting something completely new, which is a head cam point of view camera style vlog in my new M3. And this is going to kind of kick off, or hopefully kick off, if this test goes well. If you guys see it, then it went well enough for me to consider it upload worthy. So, and if you don't see this, then this will remain on my computer and probably get deleted eventually. But anyways, I figured I would talk about why I decided to buy this M3 and kind of my motivation behind picking this car and how it came to be and how it came to be mine, and just kind of the whole, give you guys the whole rundown, give you guys the whole story, because I know you guys saw the announcement video. Why do people in I swear, people that drive automatics just literally just perpetuate this idea of creeping up and up and up and up a hill. And I just feel like if more people drove manuals, this whole idea of creeping would just basically go away, and I think it would benefit everybody if this whole creeping in traffic thing went away. But anyways, completely different topic. So the subframe reinforcement is definitely something that's on my list. It's something that I'm going to be doing soon, definitely before I take this car on track or do anything track related with this car, really, because I'll do some mountain driving here and there with the car, but the whole idea of driving it hard, I would really like to get the subframe reinforcement done first. Now, issues with the car. Well, main thing right now is the brakes. The rotors are warped, and basically once you don't really notice it when you're just driving around town, but once you kind of heat up the brakes a little bit, you definitely get a judder in the pedal. And that's, I mean, again, that's to be expected. I looked at the rotors and I could see that they were old, and I expected that they would be kind of warped. And I did test drive the car before I ended up buying it, and I was like, okay, there's a little bit of a rumble to the brake pedal, but the pads are basically new. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of like work with that until I do pads and rotors. I'm probably gonna put WinMax W2s on this car, and I'll switch it over to the normal Motul RBF 600 brake fluid that I use in pretty much everything. I never did brake fluid in the GTI, but the GTI's brakes were awesome. I mean, for a daily, that thing had awesome brakes. Now, if I was gonna track that car, I would have upgraded the brakes, and I would have put RBF 600 in it, and I probably would have put either WinMax pads if they were available for it, or I would have put whatever else was available, maybe a set of Hawks or something. But in this car, like I said, I've got WinMax W5s on the S2000, and I think since this is more of a daily, I'll probably put the W2s on this. And when I go to actually put another set of tires on the car, like wheels and tires, because I want to do those at the same time, I'll probably end up putting a Michelin PS4S, or if I want something just a little bit more focused on dry grip, I may run the Falcon RT 615K Pluses that I ran on the S2000 for a little while. I mean, as a 200 treadwear tire, I loved those. They were great. Now, I mentioned about the clutch in this car. It's a full face ACT street clutch with a heavy duty pressure plate and a lightweight flywheel. So it definitely, the revs build quickly, but they also drop quickly. And I'm gonna see if I can just get out of this crap. It is easy to rev match, though. You have to kind of adjust to how the car rev matches versus the S2000, and that's mainly like the pedal placement, because the pedal placement in the S2000 is obviously a little bit different. With this having a floor hinged gas pedal, you definitely have to keep that in mind. There is a Civic Type R. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I don't know if looked like he was waving at somebody. I'm not sure if it was me or not, but ooh, I don't want to take that gap. I don't want to take that risk. That was a little bit more of a risk than I was interested in taking. I think they're all in the other lane, which they are. Perfect. And we'll give a little bit of acceleration. A little bit of an acceleration. It sounds great. That is one thing I love about this car. It sounds awesome. Now, the exhaust setup on this car is a agency power header and a Borla catback, which is honestly kind of a weird combination in my opinion, but it sounds really, really good. I can't argue with it. I didn't put it on, the previous owner put it on, and I may switch it out to something else later on down the road, but I kind of don't want to, because when you're just driving around like this, it's super sophisticated, super smooth, but when you start actually ripping, it sounds awesome. Like, it really opens up and has a really mean sound to it. It's very screamy at the top end, but it doesn't drone when you're just cruising around on the highway. You can really just cruise very comfortably with it. Now, on to why I decided to buy this car and why I would buy a high mileage BMW M3. And especially, you know, a BMW M3 from this era, everybody's like, oh my God, reliability, oh my God this, oh my God that. And it's kind of one of those things where I feel like I do need to give you guys a little bit of an explanation behind this car. And not necessarily an explanation, but an explanation behind my reasoning for choosing it. And one of the main reasons behind choosing this car was I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, so I've been dailying the GTI, right? Been dailying the GTI, love that car. Great car, but never been the biggest fan of front wheel drive. So keeping that in, oh God, okay, oh, somebody went off into a driveway. All right, well, keeping that in mind, keeping the fact in mind that I wasn't the biggest fan of front wheel drive, moved forward and was thinking, okay, well, I could do something newer, or I could do something from one of my favorite eras that would be a little bit of a project and is something that I could really kind of bring back almost and mold into the exact car that I would have wanted from that era. Now, the E46 M3 is a car that I've been a big fan of for a long, long time. It's a car that, honestly, it's a car that I had a YouTube playlist about it since I was like 15. So when you think about it that way, when the opportunity arises to get a clean one, even a clean one that has higher miles, you kind of want to jump on that. And I definitely, you know, I put a lot of thought into it before jumping on it, but at the end of the day, it was one of those things where I was like, I kind of want to jump on that. And it made a lot of sense, and I was thinking, well, it'll be quite an opportunity to own an M car from one of my favorite time periods of M cars in general. Them go. There we go. Wow, somebody tried to jump back. It sounds so good. And really, it's one of those cars where, yeah, I mean, yes, it's higher miles. Yes, I know that, and yes, I know that there are things that come with that on a higher mileage BMW, and especially an M car. But I would rather have a higher mileage M car that has a fully detailed service history than a lower mileage M car that nobody knows anything about the service history. So, honestly, lower miles don't always mean better car. And I don't know if you guys can notice that the steering wheel is just a little bit to the left. The alignment is just a tad off, but that's something that can be easily fixed. Whoa, that was a terrible rev match. But no, that's something that can be fixed. Honestly, something that can be easily fixed, and I'm not too worried about it because I do plan on changing out the suspension on this car anyway. I want to go to an Öhlins Road and Track setup, and then with the Öhlins Road and Track setup, that's actually what I use on the S2000 as well. And honestly, when I put that on the S2000, it made the ride more comfortable and dialed back the body roll, which is like the best of both worlds. And you could go stiffer than stock or softer than stock if you wanted. So that's kind of my plan right now. And this will be like a progression over time as far as, you know, building this car into like my perfect daily spec, basically. And I'm really not the type of person that needs to have all the crazy like touchscreen tech and everything. Like, I just have like an old radio in here right now, like just a little Sony head unit that the previous owner put in, and frankly, that's kind of all it needs. I mean, like, I can plug my phone in, I can listen to music, and that's really all I care about. What I mainly care about is getting the driving experience out of the car that I want. And with this car, I'm not gonna do anything like super crazy, like a super loud exhaust. Like the exhaust as it is right now is just loud enough to be perfect. And I don't want to go any louder than that. I really, you know, that's why it's gonna have, same with the brakes. It will have aggressive enough for just normal street use, but nothing, you know, super out of this, you know, out of this world. Like, it's not gonna have like endurance racing brakes or anything like that. And if I do decide to like do a track day in this car, I may change out the pads. You know, if I've got W2s on it for the street, I may change it out for W5s for the track. Now, another thing that I wanted to, oh God, a Scion TC with a roof rack came up behind me, and at the angle I saw it at, I thought it was a cop. Anyways, another thing that I do plan on doing is revamping the interior. I mean, you've seen in some of the other videos, you know, there's some of the leather that could use some reconditioning and like a couple of other things that could use to be updated. And I want to do that because I do plan on keeping this car for a long time, and I plan on keeping this car in good condition. So it's worth it to me to make these little, you know, little upgrades and not even upgrades, but just revamps here and there, and just keep the condition as high as I can. You know, when you think about how much performance something like this offers, and not only how much performance it offers, but how like livable it is on a daily basis. It's very comfortable. It's very easy to drive. It's very easy to use. I mean, I've done a couple of mountain runs in it, and it handles great. The body roll is a little excessive for my taste, but that's something that can be dialed out with coilovers and sway bars, and you know, there's not really like, that's not really a problem. You can fix that. But at the same time, you know, it is, again, very, very comfortable, more comfortable than you might expect, and you can just feel that as you drive. I don't know if you guys can hear when I push the clutch in. Since I have the AC on, you can hear the flywheel chattering when if you put the clutch in, it goes away. Let the clutch out, it comes back. And that's just kind of like, you know, when you have the AC on and you have a lightweight flywheel, stuff like that kind of just happens. Lightweight flywheels are noisy. Little first gear acceleration. Traction control came on. Oh God, I completely forgot to turn traction control off. Tomcat drives his M3 slowly around a neighborhood. Now, on another note that I did want to touch on, Jeep Guy just messaged me earlier today to tell me that he is actually on the way back from Savannah with his new car. Now, this is not an off-road vehicle. It is actually a new car, a new sports car. And I feel like nobody would be able to guess what it was unless you knew exactly what it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like nobody would be able to guess what it was unless you knew Jeep Guy and like knew him personally, or, well, maybe, or if you followed his Instagram, because he's talked about it a little bit on his Instagram page. But other than that, I feel like you probably would not be able to guess what the car is. I will give you a hint though. It came in on a boat, and he had to wait a couple months for it to come in. So that may narrow down a couple of the suggestions or ideas. It kind of does suggest that it's JDM, but at the end of the day, it'll still be fun to see what people will guess that it is. I do love this car though. I think that at the end of the day, like, I've always wanted one of these, and the opportunity arose to own a clean one, and I kind of had to jump on it. I really just had to jump on the opportunity to own one of these, and I'm really glad I did. I'm genuinely glad that I did, because this has been one of my personal dream cars. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't pick my cars based on a name or a badge. I pick my cars based on how they drive. And I drove this car, and I had always looked up to this car because of its rich heritage, but I had never actually, you know, gotten a chance to mess around with one behind the wheel. And I drove one, and I was like, it was like meeting your heroes in a good way. You know, this car did not disappoint me at all, and I had to have it. And it was one of those things where, like, you know, you had that opportunity to get a really, really clean one, and it's like, are you gonna just let that opportunity go? No, of course not. Why would you? Why would you let that opportunity go? And I'm, oh God, that was a bump. but I'm very, very happy that I did decide to go with this car, and I'm very happy that I chose to go with this car, and I can't wait to really dive into what we have in the works for it. I think it's going to be a really fun project as a daily. I think it's going to be an absolute blast to drive the more we do to it. And we're not going to do, like I said, it's not going to be anything super crazy. It's not going to be like a crazy like turbo car or anything like that. It's just going to be basically reinforcing everything from the factory, good brakes, good tires, good suspension setup, reworking some of the interior pieces, cleaning the interior up, making it look new in here, really retaining that factory feel that it had back in 2002, and really just bringing this car up to date, but also bringing it back as an acknowledgement to its heritage. So this has been definitely a car that I've always wanted to try out, and it's a car that I've genuinely always wanted. And I know that I said that a little bit in my other video, but I think in this video I'm more able to say that, like, no, I just have always wanted one of these. It's kind of a dream come true to have it, and I can't thank you guys enough for being there and continuing to be there, so I can try these things out and have these experiences and share them with you, because that's what it's all about, is me sharing these experiences with you guys. Because if I didn't share these experiences with you guys, what kind of a thank you would that be? Because to me, I want to share these things with you guys. I want to share my experiences with you, and I want to share with you all the fun that I get to have in this car and the S2000. And if you guys like this whole POV head cam idea, let me know in the comments below, and I will talk to y'all in the next one. Make sure you click that subscribe button for more, and come back later for another video. Talk to you guys next time.